Yeah, my name's Koa Windsong, and I've lived very close to the earth most of my life. It's only been a very short period of time where I was taken away to uni and so on and so forth that I haven't been living very close to the earth in a really simple manner. I've been in Australia 12 years, and in that time I've gone into the archives of the first settlers and read what they observed and wrote down about the Aboriginal culture. I spent 90% of my time in the bush by myself doing this, living like this, and trying to regain and remember that knowledge, that ancient knowledge. Yeah, we're in Bulwai country here, and because of that we went to Willie Brim, who's an elder of the Bulwai tribe here in Davies Creek. They're the traditional owners of the land here. And it's been really amazing walking around this country with Willie, because he's shown me things that I didn't see. And he's actually shown me a different way of seeing this country, which has been really special to me. It's not easy to find teachers in this world that know about these kind of things.
Koa, I'd like to say welcome to my land. This is Bulwai country, and I appreciate your knowledge and the sharing that you do with people. And that's much the same as the way Aboriginal people treated their daily lives. And while you're out here on Bulwai land, or at Davies Creek area, there are lots of other things beside the plants and the knowledge about plants, which coexisted in our culture as well. You're in a really, really rich, culturally diverse area here, where we have the richness of our plants, the environment, and then because my people, the Bulwai people, occupied this land here before, we left our footprints and our fingerprints behind here as well through our cultural practices.
And we've come up on a bloodwood tree. Bulwai people call the tree gumbo. And it's a very important tree. Like when you got a stomach ache or something like that, it's really good for medicine. So you just take some of the sap off here where it's been scarred. It's been actually purposely scarred so that the tree will bleed. And you pick some of that off and put it in your palm there and mash it. Mash it up to a powder, mix it with a bit of water and drink it. Fix up your stomach. And also, we got a little stick here, and we get down into the bubble, and it's actually liquid in there. It's not hard because the air hasn't got to it. And so if you got a toothache, instead of going to the dentist or whatever, you got some kind of infection there, you just take that liquidy bit and put it on your infected tooth. Take the infection out, heal it up. So it's a really important treat to the Bulwai people in the Davies Creek.
Out here we have many wonders, and in the dreaming of the Bulwai people we have protectors of this country as well, who are laid here in stone. If you look at the top of the ridge there going up to the falls, you look back, you will see a giant man standing up. He is a Bulwanji protector of country.
Every chance I got, I'd go into the libraries and pore over all the Bush Tucker books and any kind of book that had anything to do with how the Aboriginal people lived here, and also the first settlers. There's a lot of the plants here now are introduced plants, and I've actually incorporated those plants into my knowledge, because most of them we're never going to get rid of. They're here, and they're going to stay here. This is a really common bush tucker. It's been called, I've been told it's called lucerne, wild lucerne, and they brought it here for cattle fodder. But I have put it to the edibility test to make sure that it's an edible plant, and it definitely is. and it's almost everywhere you go in the dry scrub on the tablelands here. And you just pick that bud there with the yellow flowers and chew it up. And it's beautiful. And it's all over the place here. You get a really good feed just in this area. Here's my old friend Gotu kola. It's pretty much everywhere in the bush. Beautiful food. Really important plant to know. We'll just take a leaf here. And when you pull it from the stem, it fans out. And then you know it's for sure Gotu kola. Science has done lots of studies on it because Chinese have used it for thousands of years medicinally. And they know it stimulates the immune system, which is good enough reason to eat it alone. And I've acquired a taste for it. I really like it. You can eat the stem and everything. Oh yeah, there's some ferns just up there, not very far from the Gotu kola. The whole Ursa garden, I reckon. There's food everywhere.
The modern day saying is you are what you eat. Well, what were the Aboriginal people? And you know, for the length of time, just imagine you eating all this stuff that's coming fresh from these trees. You are what you eat. So you live long like a tree too. You know. On the land of Australia, when you look right across the length and breadth, they were like us. Thin, built for the land.
Yeah.
You know, and strong, fit people. And that's the thing that has to come back somewhat, because if we don't take a look at who we were and where we came from, the chances of us surviving in the future are very slim.
That's right.
You know, so we've got to really take a step back, which I've done, to enable me to step forward.
This is a grevillea just about to blossom. We're a couple of weeks off, and this whole tree will be full of blossoms. Very important bush tucker for the Aboriginal people. They didn't have that much sweet stuff in their diet, so they really valued sweet bush tucker. So what they would do is have their water container, when this is in full blossom and the nectar's all out and the pollen's ready, they just dip it in their water containers and go to the next one and dip it until and then they'd taste it. And when it was sweet enough, then they'd drink it. This big tree here is a melaleuca. You can tell because see how the seeds are all around the stem? And it's a paperbark melaleuca, and it's got a white blossom. Right here, see, that's the beautiful blossom. And then this is another one that the Aboriginals would dip in water containers until they got sweet enough and drink it. So they'd just be walking up here early in the morning, dipping all these trees, all the different ones. All the grevilleas, they dip, and I saw a few banksias around, but they weren't flowering. So there was lots and lots of blossoms here for them to get lots of nectar out of. And they valued their sweet foods a lot, so they spent a lot of time dipping flowers. There's still a little bit of dew on there. Sweet. What a magnificent tree. Wow.
What we're looking at here is a cycad. We call this one buddle. Buddle. Now this tree is so important to me because it tells a lot of stories. Not only because of the size of it, I know that it has been here for such a long time. My ancestors have left their footmarks on the side here to cut up to the side to get up to the top to get the nuts like what you have there. Now the nuts of these ones here, they come from the top. So then they were taken and then collected, smashed open, and then put into a dilly bag or a straining bag, and we take it down to the creek. Then it's left in there for about 3 days. After that 3-day period, that nut will come out, then it is dried, then it's simply powdered up, and we make a bush damper and bush bread from this tree here. This one we call him buddle. Buddle. But a tree like this, because of its age, it is estimated to be over 2,000 years of age. I believe it belongs on Australia's tree heritage listed, and it should be registered and become a sacred site, not only to the Aboriginal people, Kawa, but to all people of the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trees like this are so important.
Yeah.
Give her a hug. Beautiful.
Yeah, when the Bulwai people were living here at Davies Creek before the white man came, there were many species of grass that they used for staples, which are gone now because of the cattle, like native millet. It would have been all over the place here, and one Aboriginal person would have been able to gather enough millet to feed 8 people in 2 hours. It was very, very abundant. But because of the cattle grazing and everything, that plant has basically gone extinct. It's not here anymore. If it's here, it's very, very difficult to find. But there are still some of these plants, like the lemongrass here, that are still here. The cattle didn't destroy them and make them leave the planet. And it was very important to the Aboriginal people. They made tea from the leaves. It has a very lemony smell. And they also used it for insect repellent. They'd mash it up and rub it on their skin to get insects to go away from them. And this lemongrass is everywhere. There's a plant there and a plant there, and just all over the place here in this country. This one's remained. It survived, and this seed head, it's blady grass, and the seed head is full of seeds. And when they're fully ripe, they're red, bright red. And then they used to take them and pound them when they're red, pound them with a bit of water and just keep pounding them and make cakes and put them in the coals and make damper. But also you can, it's very high in sugar. Scientists have actually tried to cross this grass species with the sugarcane species to get a more tolerable plant, a more hardy plant that will grow in this country. When you pull out the base of the stem, like that, and peel it back, you've got a tender, sugary bite of food there. You can eat raw. So all the grass species are edible, but one thing you've got to really look out for, is, especially during rain or after rain, is when the seed heads get old and start going back to nature. They've dropped all their seeds and everything, or even if they've still got seeds, and if they've got black mold, if you see black in there, don't eat it, because it can actually be a bacteria that can make you really sick and even kill you. It's called ergot, E-R-G-O-T, and it forms like a capsule. It's really black, and it's almost the shape of the seed, and very, very toxic. The first settlers used to thatch their huts with this grass, and apparently, I haven't seen them, but apparently there's still huts shedding rain after 150 years. So, we're thatched with this grass. It's got a nice long fiber. Yeah. So there you go.
We did not have a written language, as you know, so our stories were then passed on through the song, the dance, and through our artwork, which is one of the reasons why I brought you to this site here, sitting right on the very side of the highway, 2 meters off the road, and yet we have a treasured piece of artwork sitting right here. So this man, Three Finger Man, He is known as a Mulladumbin, or the clever man. In males in our tribal system, you rise from being a child to your first initiation cuts that you're a man. Now, if you're a man that wishes to follow and become a warrior, that path is there for you. You could go into the spiritual world, well, that path is there for you. But you want to continue your knowledge on medicine, similar to what you are doing, on bush foods, well, that was there available for the man as well. And those men, once they hit the peak of their studies, if you like to call it studies, they become and portrayed as a three-fingered person, a man of great knowledge. So whenever you see that person there on any art around the rainforest areas with 3 fingers, you'll know he's a fully initiated person.
This is lamandra, or common name is mat rush. Here it is flowering. Thousands of little tiny flowers on the stem there, and so a bit spiky. The Aboriginals used to come along and dip them in water because they're really, really sweet. And drink the water like all the other blossoms that we showed you. And also they call it mat rush because the Aboriginals used to weave mats out of these long leaves. So what you do, you don't want to pick the ones that have the flowers coming out of it because they've used all that root energy up. So you get one that doesn't have a flower, like over here, and then you pull it out like that. So that's the same thing that we pulled out from the blady grass to eat, and then you just eat that part there. Delicious.
And the other stories that we're connected with are gone now because of the water flow that comes through here. We've had other stories here, and on the side there again, you can see the really faded images of boomerangs that were up there and other creatures that were there.
One of the most important food sources for the Bulwai people of the Davis Creek area was the grass tree. It's not actually in the grass family. It just looks like grass growing up on the top. Another name for it is black boy, because when the fires come through it turns the trunk black. When a fire comes through and some of the grass trees die off from the top and they're in the floodplain, the witch-itty grub moth lays their eggs in there, and sometimes you can find hundreds of witch-itty grubs inside that stalk. But if the grass tree grows up away from the floodplain and dies, then the termites get in there and eat it. And you can eat termites too as well. So you bust it open and get in there and get those termites out and eat them. After the tree dies and it all starts to fall apart, and they used to burn that in the coals of the fire to keep any kind of insects away, especially in the summertime when there'd be a lot of flies around. Okay, this is the dry flower stalk of the grass tree, or the common name black boy. And the Aboriginals had a lot of uses for this. They made spears because it's got a pithy center. They can just hollow it out a bit with a knife or whatever, or some kind of drill. And then they take a piece of hardwood and sharpen it up and stick it in there as a shaft. First they dip that base of that shaft in the grass tree resin that excretes out from the roots here. I don't see any here right now, but they collected it whenever they saw it. And you melt that in a bit of fire and then dip that stick in there. It's like real intense glue, and they'd stick it in that hollow bit, and then wrap it up with some sinew from the back of the wallaby leg, and then take beeswax and melt it with black boy resin and just cover the whole thing, and then it'd have a good spear. So, and the other thing is that this is one of the best ones for fire. So they used to twirl this one, actually make it about that long, maybe a bit shorter, like that, and they'd twirl that into a bigger, they'd go around and find a bigger grass tree stalk, about like that, and that would be the base that they'd drill this into to get hot ashes and start fire. So it's really, really important to the Aboriginal people, especially in this country. This is grass tree country.
Well, we have many more. I mean, we have birthing places, initiation places, ceremony grounds, places for where the neighbours came in, and hundreds would gather and dance around for 3 or 4 days. And this is where the plants again helped to keep the physical activities going up. We had, you know, plants that'll just keep your energy flowing for a matter of days. And plants and seeds that we'd send young warriors over the mountains to deliver messages. We give them certain nuts and stuff like that were used. Mainly, if you abused them, we knew that you'd turn into a silly person. That's why laws were put on them to be ceremony use only.
This is a Pandanus tree here, and it would have been a very important food source to the Bulwai people of the Davis Creek area here. See the nut up there? When it turns orange, each section starts to fall to the ground. And the Bulwai people would have gathered them up. And they'd smash them on a rock and open up the nut casing and then get inside the nut with a special little tool they made and pull the nut out. It would have been pretty tedious work. But according to all the first accounts, like from the first settlers and stuff, apparently the Aboriginal people spent a lot of time getting this nut because, well, they've done studies on it and it's very high in protein and fats. When the Aboriginal people were having a corroboree, they would gather the nut when it's ripe and mash the fruit and the nut inside of an acacia trough and then and pour water over it and let it ferment for 3 to 5 days. And then the whole tribe would drink it, little children on up through the old people. And apparently it was like a heart opener at a corroboree. And they also made dilly bags from the leaves, and they made medicine, different kinds of external medicine from the first shoots, like this node coming off the tree is like a root that comes down, and they'd break that off, mash it up in water, and put it on any external wounds they had. So it's a really, really important tree in this country for the Bulwai people.
So stories like this are left up to us to interpret now because our elders have since gone. And by us staying connected to country, the answers will come from country and nowhere else.
The stories are coming back to you.
Yeah, through dreams, through our footsteps, and then we just piece together what you've been fed as a human, then connect that with your visuals to the country. Then stories then interplay. Then you somehow get the picture. You get the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get reconnected to it.
Yep.
The edibility test is really important knowledge to have in these days because so much of the knowledge has been lost. And when you keep coming across plants that are very common in your environment, you need to know if they're edible or not. So you can put it to this test and that'll tell you. This is a universal test. You only test one part of the plant at a time. So that's either the flower, the bud, the seed, the bark, the root, just one part of the plant at a time. And take that plant, like let's say we're going to test the flower, and we take the flower and crush it and rub it into our wrist, on the inside of our wrist. Wait 15 minutes. If there's no itching and burning, then take it to the second part of the test, which is underneath the arm, very sensitive place of the body. This is a plant I put to the edibility test. And the flowers and the leaves failed the test on the second, underneath the arm, on the second part of the test. Made me itchy and burning. But when we were walking with Willie from the Bulwai people, he pointed out this plant and said that his people used it for sore muscles. So they'd pull the plant out and mash the root and rub that into any sore muscles. And actually the root smells like deep heat. If it doesn't itch or burn, then you're ready to take it to the next part of the test, which is just under the lip. So you crush the flower again, whatever part of the plant you're testing, rub it underneath your lip. So there was no reaction, so I'm going to put it on my tongue now. Take it out. Wait 15 minutes. Okay, we waited 15 minutes. So now what I'm going to do is take that tiny bit and chew on it. And then I'm going to spit it out. Wait 15 minutes. If there's no itching or burning, then take the same part of the plant, a little tiny bit, chew it up and swallow it. Now you've got to wait 8 hours. And don't eat anything in that period. Just drink water. And if you wake up in the morning and there's no ill effects, then take a quarter of a cup of the same part of the plant and eat it on an empty stomach. Wait 8 hours. If there's no ill effects, then that plant's edible. If there is any ill effect, like you feel nauseated or whatever, drink lots of water and try to induce vomiting. Okay, so if I'm still alive in the morning, it's edible. In most of your bush tucker books, they tell you that any plant that grows in Australia with the water, when the roots are in the water, and they have a white starchy base and a green up on top, they're edible. And you just it grows in clumps, and you just get your hands down there on a clump, pull it out. And you just peel those leaves back, and you've got a nice big starchy base just in there. You get a pretty good feed. You don't want to take too much from one plant because you'll hurt it. So you just take maybe 2 off of this one and go on downstream, you'll find more. All the little babies are growing just in there. Beautiful plant. Really nice to eat. Yeah, I saw a really beautiful green ant nest over here, and let's go over here and check it out because it's a really important bush tucker to know about, medicinally and nutritionally. Yeah, so beautiful. Yeah, I don't know what the name of this tree is, but they love it. I think it's because it's easy for them to make their nest out of, because of the pattern of leaves. But very important bush tucker for the Aboriginals, and also medicinal. If they ever had any sinus problems, they just pinch them and breathe the fumes of the ant when you crush it. But also you can just pick them like that, pick their bum off, and eat it. It's really quite nice. Come here, buddy. So the Aboriginals would actually come along and cut that branch off and put it in a water container and then strain off all the ants and drink the liquid. Apparently it would have been really nutritious. If you disturb them and they fall on you, they bite and make you really uncomfortable. So when you're going through the bush, I'm always looking for these green ants so that I don't get bit.
Yeah, Koa, after working with you for a couple of days now and seeing what sort of person you are, you strike me as a pretty sincere sort of person, a man who wants to share the knowledge, not only for your own good, but it's for all mankind. And knowing you, I'm sort of get to know you now, and I have no problems with you talking about some of the plans that are on Bulwai country. You have my blessings.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's not hard to imagine how the Aboriginals lived here. What a beautiful life they would have had. Walking up one side of this creek, dipping all the flowers, drinking the nectar, hunting the turtles, and everything that this land provides. It would have been the Garden of Eden. And they would have been walking in it in harmony with nature. You know, living simply, just nomadically, very softly on the earth. What a beautiful way to be, you know. It's in contrast to the way that we live in our society now and taking way more than we need from nature. It's so obvious that the way that we live now in these days is so unsustainable. We're raping the earth. That's what we're doing. We're not living in harmony. And we can still do it. We can still live in harmony with the earth in a beautiful place like this. There's still enough bush tucker, and yeah, the basic rule in walking in the way of the heart is not taking more than you need from the land, and yeah, keeping in balance and in harmony with nature. And what a beautiful place to do it. It's just so amazing here.
We are opening all the doors to set the spirit free. We are tearing down the walls between you and me. We are letting go to an infinite way of being. We are awakening to an ever new way of seeing. Tear down the walls that divide us all, yeah. Only love can unite us all. Come on, tear down the walls that divide us all, yeah. 'Cause through our hearts we are united as one. We are one, oh we are one. Oh we are one, yeah. We are one, oh we are one. I believe in you. 'Cause I believe in me. Yeah. I believe that the flow of our destiny is to bring us all home free. Yellow Kasumasta Suki no Babatu. May all the beings in all the worlds be happy. Yeah. Loka sumasta suki no bhavantu. May all the beings in all the worlds be happy. Yeah. And may the love we're sharing spread its wings, fly across the earth and bring true joy to every soul that is alive. May the blessings of your grace, my Lord, shine on everyone, and may we all see the light.